Anlok is the last sizable town on the road to Saigon.
The Russians may decide to resort to something that we haven't seen since the Vietnam War.
It looks as though West Germany has snapped itself up a whole country at a bargain basement price.
Joe Schlesinger, CBC News.
Saudi Arabia, London, Buenos Aires.
On your own cue, Joe.
Okay. My name is Joe Schlesinger, and I have a new job. I've been a journalist for 65 years. Nowadays, though, my main job is being a patient, seeing doctors and other medical practitioners. Boy, do I ever see doctors. First, there's my GP, of course. Behind him, an army of specialists. A rheumatologist, a cardiologist, orthopedist, neurologist, a dermatologist, a periodontist, as well as a dentist, an optometrist, audiologist, pharmacist, naturopath, physiotherapist, to say nothing of the trainer who tries to keep what Shakespeare called the shrunk shank of old age mobile. In my case, though, not all that mobile. I've worn out 2 hip replacements. Number 3, I'm happy to report, is doing just fine. I've been held together by slings, splints, stitches, and plaster casts, probed by MRI, CAT scan, and electromyography machines, treated with acupuncture needles, an ultrasound device, and a rig that has a 90-pound weight yanking at my spine to take the kinks out of it. I also take oodles of pills. If it weren't for some of the more recently developed meds, I'd probably be dead by now. But the one that has caught my fancy is that old standby, the lonely aspirin pill that I take daily to reduce the risk of life-threatening blood clots. Not any aspirin, mind you, low-dose baby aspirin. That dose of baby aspirin, in a way, closes the full circle of life as Shakespeare foresaw it 500 years ago when he wrote about the first and last stages of life in the 7 ages of man. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. Last scene of all is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Bordash, I say. Okay, so I do have a few false teeth and wear eyeglasses. Yup, I've needed the care of nurses at times. But I assure you, no later life mewling or puking. But it does take a lot of patience to be a patient. For starters, of course, there's the usual waiting for appointments, for distant dates for tests, and then for actually having something done about the results. What requires even more patience is coping with the everyday chores of your debilities. Mainly, though, I have trouble walking and staying upright, so I need a cane. But a cane can only get me so far. After that, it's wheels, a walker. You can push it along, and when you need a rest, just sit on it. Down the road, no doubt, there's a wheelchair in my future. But I refuse to let all that affect my taste for life. I still have so much to engross the heart and engage the brain. The love of my wife, my children and grandchildren. Those are the elixirs that, for all the pain and other problems, make life worth living. But there's one more thing that occupies my mind, and that is keeping up as best I can with the turbulence of the world I've inhabited these past 85 years.
Come here with me.
I've spent my whole life as a witness to history. First as a boy who during the Second World War lost his parents in the Holocaust and was pushed from country to country, a refugee first from Hitler, then Stalin. The experiences of my youth led me into journalism and a career of traveling the world, reporting at times on its triumphs, such as the fall of the Berlin Wall, but more often on the travails of wars, revolutions, and other disasters. Once upon a time, I used to do things like jumping out of a helicopter in Vietnam as it hovered over a landing pad under enemy fire, climbing a sacred mountain in forbidding North Korea, crossing the dangerous Khyber Pass on foot from Pakistan into Afghanistan, and riding an elephant with an army patrol chasing Khmer Rouge guerrillas through the rice paddies in Cambodia. I fell off the elephant, but never mind. I can no longer do these things, but thanks to the internet, I can get around to distant places and events by letting my fingers do the walking. Whether it's my old homeland, the Czech Republic, Chile, or China, I have a need to keep up with what's happening there. That need is fed by a sense of belonging, a feeling that since I was there to witness epochal turning points in their history, I have a stake in their fate. Besides, the mind needs exercising as much as the rest of the body. So I keep on exploring what's happening in distant parts of the world. I have, in a way, the whole world in my hands. The world of all that is near and dear to me, as well as much of what lies far beyond the horizon. All this, thanks to my doctors and all those pills I swallowed. I know I'm in the home stretch. The question is, are you guys in the home stretch? Okay. Joe Schlesinger, CBC News. Where the am I?